pay attention to the headline on your LinkedIn profile. That's that area right underneath your name.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Passionpreneur Show. You know me as an author, an entrepreneur, a model, a pageant coach, but one word that describes me best is a passionpreneur because I converted my passion into thriving business and not just one, two of them. The success tour where I help students to become the best version of themselves and get college ready. And for the beginner models and the designers, I've created a platform so that they are not judged on their age, size, height, anything, and they can shine bright, not only on the runway, but in their life. And through this series, we invite the people who are so passionate about something. They decided to move from the chair of success to the chair of significance, where they are creating that impact, which we all need. And with those stories, I'm sure they are going to uplift your dreams and get you into that passion to convert them into your life. So today, let's welcome without any further ado our guest for today, Miss Kate Paine. She's the founder of Standing Out Online. The word itself says we all are online, digital presence. We are creating that digital footprints. But how can you stand out? How you can actually utilize that for your business? So I call her, she is the LinkedIn strategist. She'll make your profile lit like anything. I always used to think my LinkedIn profile is the best, but when I attended her session, I was like, oh my God, there's a lot that I can do. So sometimes we think that I knows everything, but we do not know. So let's welcome Miss Kate Paine. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And it was such a delight to meet you when I was in Dallas. See that
Awesome.
these
Awesome.
sunbeams are coming in my window. So let me get rid of those.
Yes,
There we
yes.
go.
You look great
So
now.
I'm excited to be here.
The sun decides to shine on you.
I know. I guess, well,
Standing
I
out
still got
online.
some
See?
anyway. It's just
Standing
trying.
out, shining out. Okay, so I want you to tell to our audience your story. I mean, there are so many things that we all do, but why did you decide to pick this? What's your story? What's the why behind it?
Okay. Well, I'm all about story, so I love that you asked that. So, when I was in high school, I actually thought I wanted to be a journalist. So this was like back in the 80s. So it was long before the internet, certainly no social media or anything like that. And I saw people, there weren't very many female journalists at the time, but I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to go out and not just news, but I wanted to find the human stories, the feature stories about the everyday people who were doing extraordinary things, ordinary people doing extraordinary kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up going to college. I grew up in Vermont. I grew up in a very small town, and I ended up going to college in New York City.
Okay.
So that was a big culture shock for me.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was going to college in New York City for journalism, I was actually fortunate enough to get a college internship for 2 years at CBS News at the Broadcast Center.
That's
So
great.
yeah, it was pretty interesting. So first I worked on the morning news as an intern, and then the second year I worked behind the scenes for the Northeast Bureau, which was part of the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather at the time, who
Mm-hmm.
was an anchor of CBS News for years. And so when I graduated, I decided I didn't want to be in corporate broadcast. I went back to Vermont. I worked as a journalist in a newspaper. And then I got hired, I got sort of recruited to see if I would want to work at one of the state colleges as the head of PR and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and did that. And that was sort of about when the internet was coming out a little bit. So that was like later 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, long story short, I ended up having a couple of my own businesses. I had my own PR business for a while in Vermont. And then I actually had a photography and video production business right after college.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's why these rays of light are driving me crazy. And and then I worked in corporate. I worked for some nonprofits, but it was always around marketing, public relations, image, how do you show up? What's your messaging? So I was a writer. So back then we used to write things for annual reports and
Hmm.
catalogs and things like that because it was a print world back then.
It was always about branding, I would say.
Exactly. Yes. It was always about how do you show up? How do
Uh-huh.
you make a connection?
Hmm.
And so then in 2014, had a huge love of LinkedIn as a platform. And somebody had suggested as a side hustle, you should work with people to help them make their LinkedIn profiles better. And I still had my other big marketing job. And then as that started to take off, I thought, I think I have something here. And I started speaking, and then people were hiring me. And so that's when I went from Kate Paine Associates and I named it Standing Out Online.
Uh-huh.
And I bought the domain, and then we started the branding, and then here I am in 2025. And now it's my full-on business, and I have a team,
Hmm.
and I work with people on their personal brand development, their positioning, like how do they want to show up online and off too.
Hmm.
And then I help people with their LinkedIn and how to leverage LinkedIn for their personal brand. And
Hmm.
then I also do public relations. I do very custom public relations for clients who are like speakers, authors, coaches, people who are their own brand.
Hmm. I love it. You know how sometimes in life, something just comes in our head and we think about it, and it just becomes our full-time profession or
Yes.
business. And then we go back and think that that decision was so right. We
Yeah.
took that, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I truly love what I do. Just like you being, the passionpreneur,
mhm,
I have a passion for this. And
mhm,
I love and I take this from when I first went to college. I pull from my journalism background. I'm so interested in other people's story.
mhm,
And from the standpoint of business, I want to help them uncover their story arc
mhm,
that
mhm.
is in alignment with why they do what they do. It's not just any story.
Yes,
It's
yes,
the story that's going to hopefully make a connection
right.
with a prospect or
And I
their
think,
audience
yeah,
to
and
so that they understand why you do what you do.
yes, exactly, the why. And I feel nowadays people are doing so many things, but sometimes they're not able to convey to the audience. They need the right words, or you said the right
Right.
story to position themselves so that a layman or a person who stumbles upon your profile can get to know you, right? It's
Right,
very
right,
important. People think, oh, I posted something and people will start becoming my clients. It's not that. You
right.
have to build that trust, and for that, stories are powerful. Okay.
Exactly. I mean, as I mentioned in my session that you attended when I was in
Uh-huh.
Dallas a couple weeks ago, my topic was LinkedIn with personality, where
Mhm.
professional meets playful, but not
Mhm.
fluffy. Like
Yes.
this is where a lot of people over the years, admittedly, LinkedIn is a job seeking platform
Hmm.
and recruiters are there all the time. And so I think people feel like it's this digital resume version of themselves and they have to be buttoned up and
Hmm.
they have to be professional all the time.
Hmm.
And there's a way to still bring in your personality that is
Hmm.
in alignment with what you do. And if
Right.
you're a coach or you are even a financial advisor,
Hmm.
you are working with people in a very intimate way about something that's very personal. So
Hmm.
if they Google you and they find you via LinkedIn and that's their first impression of you,
Hmm.
they want to learn about who you are as a human,
Hmm.
not just who you are in your job title.
Yes, yes, this
And
makes
so that's
sense.
what I like to work on
I
with
love
the
it. I
people who
love
work
it.
with
And in
me.
fact, I made that note that, you have to be authentic yourself.
Yes,
People do not do business with you because of what you do, they do for who you are.
exactly.
And then
Right.
adding that personal touch and being authentic and showing behind the scenes, I think it makes all sense nowadays on digital
Exactly. I
footprint.
think in some ways COVID made that more I think what we all went through during COVID and lockdown and everything, I think that really the upside of that is that we all put forth our authentic voices. So even
I
if
love
we
it.
were
Yeah.
dancing on TikTok or on
Yes.
Instagram or whatever, in our pajamas, I mean,
Mhm.
you may not have seen that before because
Right.
there was still this like we always have to be polished.
Yes. Yes.
And so I think that that allowed everybody really to be very real because we were all in some ways we're all on the same level,
Yes.
rich or poor,
Exactly.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like we were all dealing with the
Uh-huh.
same thing in
Uh-huh.
some fashion. And so I think that's what gave permission for people
Exactly.
to show their personality a little bit and to
Mhm.
show it in just enough of a way that helps build like there's the know, like, and trust we talk about, but it's
Uh-huh.
also know, like, and care.
Yes.
Like I want somebody to care about who I
Yes.
am and how
Know
I can
me as
help
a
them.
person. Yes.
Yeah, I want them to make a connection. I mean, we're all out there. If we're in business
Right.
or if we're looking for a job, we're
Hmm.
all trying to build relationships of some kind. We're building connections. And
Yes.
don't we want to build connections that are meaningful versus just
Mhm.
like a names in a contact list,
Yes, yes. So I
Yeah.
have made so many connections, and then they have been virtual during COVID. But then I put little efforts, either talking on a call, or if in fact, I'm going to New York next month, and then I plan to meet someone who I've been connected on social media. So I feel, yes, it's very important to connect with them and have those relationships. Great.
Yes, yes.
But tell me, when people listen to you and see your profile, they feel, oh my gosh, she is a successful person, and is she approachable? What is the definition of overnight success for our viewers? It takes years of those challenges or stepping stones. What were your limitations or the boundaries that you might have crossed to reach where you are today?
It's such an important question because I think a lot of times, especially like if somebody was to go look at my website right now and look at my LinkedIn profile, they're
Hmm.
going to see that version of me. But it's taken me a long time to get there. And I didn't just start out that way. I didn't just go and have a photo shoot and wear 6 different outfits and get hair and makeup done and just like it I wasn't like that before. I mean, I did my little hair and thing and I just like I was sort of shy and I was kind of silly. And so I had to like get some confidence around that. So when I started this iteration of my business with Standing Out Online, one of the things I didn't expect, but I loved, was that I got invited to speak. So I
Hmm.
was speaking at women's entrepreneurial things, but I was also getting hired by corporations to
Hmm.
go to their like annual North American sales meeting and
Hmm.
speak in front of 400 people to teach them how they can leverage LinkedIn in
Hmm.
their sales career for that company.
Hmm.
So all of that took time, and then I became a speaker, and so you find all these sort of different versions of yourself,
Hmm.
but when you embrace them and you also make bold decisions. So one of the things that I did, so I started out with nothing. I was doing everything myself. I
Hmm.
finally decided to hire a bookkeeper. That was my first big thing. And I'm like, why didn't I do this 5 years ago? And it was like $200 a month at the time. And I thought, wow, I can do that. I was a single mom with 2 kids after a divorce. So I was, trying to make ends meet and everything.
Hmm.
And then I got an opportunity, and it was a big, bold, it was a big, bold decision. It
Hmm.
was a big chunk of money. It was $15,000. And
Wow.
but I also saw the opportunity it was going to give me. And I thought, if I do this and I can make this work, and I did, and it took some time,
Hmm.
then that's going to be the game changer. And it absolutely was. It did not happen overnight.
Yeah.
I had to dip into my savings, but the return I got more
Uh-huh.
than covered the investment,
Uh-huh.
and I made money, but I
Hmm.
also got the visibility, the exposure, the trust.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
then and it just kept like you keep nurturing it, you keep nurturing it, and eventually it leads to others. I mean, you interviewed the founder of eWomen Network, Sandra Yancey,
Yes.
and
Yes.
2 years ago, I
Uh-huh.
actually invested in one of her high tier programs called the
Hmm.
Pinnacle Mastermind. That was a $50,000 investment. I
Hmm.
have never spent that much on a coaching mastermind program. And again, I was able to make it work, but I also got a return on that. And it
Hmm.
was also like a game changer in my business again, because I learned from one of the best.
Right.
Sandra has a phrase that I love. When you want to invest in yourself and your business, you have to write a check for speed.
Hmm.
So it was a lot, but I got there a heck of a lot faster, making some of these big investments for a bold move.
Hmm.
But it was also the thing that ended up paying off.
Right. Right. No,
I
definitely.
got
I
scared. Believe me, there were some sleepless nights. There were, oh my gosh, what if I don't do this? There were some nail
Right.
biting times, as I call them, and
Hmm.
we all go through them. And we either fold or we
Yes.
go, I've got this and I'll
Yes.
figure it out.
Yes. You have to, when you
Yep.
are in a business, you have to think, you have to be bold, you have to take risks. It's all about risk.
It
But
is.
if you trust yourself, I think you will definitely nail it. That's the
Yeah.
That's the game.
And
Oh.
surround yourself with people who are invested in your success.
Mm-hmm.
People who are not feeling like they've got to compete with you, but
Mm-hmm.
they're excited for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're excited for them. And then it's the whole like it's like it's reciprocal, right?
It
And
is.
that's what you want. So sometimes you may end up having to change the people you hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
I even had family members at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't in any way mean to me, but they were doubting me. And
Right.
when they doubted
Of
me, I
course.
would start to doubt myself. I was already doubting myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, but then I was like, you know what? I gotta like say thank you for your concern.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Mm-hmm.
got this, and I marched on anyway.
Right. It's at first they laugh at you, then they doubt you, but then
Right.
they start seeing you, and then lastly they look at you as a role model, right? And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
so.
One of the values of eWomen Network is lift others as you climb.
Mm-hmm.
And another value that I love is give first, share always. And I really appreciate and try to live my personal life and my work life
I love it.
according to those values. And when the more you do that, the
Mm-hmm.
universe just brings you,
It does. I
it
believe
just
universe always
happens.
brings the things in our Indian culture. We also say karma. Uh,
Right.
so it comes back to you the way you
Exactly.
start doing when you start giving. I always say first think what you can give to others before you
Yeah.
start expecting. It's
Right.
true.
And it really is about that. Like I am always connecting people.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people, but it didn't happen overnight. This has
Right.
been years of networking. Back in Vermont, small state, I
Mm-hmm.
was very well known there and
Mm-hmm.
I had a network, but I went to Rotary meetings and I went to,
You have to
Women
show
Business
up
Owner
everywhere.
Networks meeting. I mean,
Yes.
I kept showing up.
Yes. Yes. Keep showing
And
up.
sometimes it's just going to a small little event where you're just supporting somebody who just won an award and they're a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And when you keep showing up like that, it all starts to
Mm-hmm.
like pay off. And I don't mean that
Right.
like it's a bait and switch thing. I don't mean it like that. It's just that people get to know you, they like you, they trust you, they care about you, and it just starts to breed more.
That's what
And
I
then I
say.
moved out of Vermont and I came into a new community and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
so it's taken a few years to get here
Awesome, awesome. But
and
I'm so
I'm
happy for you the way you have been helping people and, shining bright.
thank you.
But I'm sure through this journey, there are some of the proud moments that we always get, which I think keeps us going. It's a self-motivator for we people
Yes.
that reminds us that, hey, I did that, I can do more. So what were your proud moments? Do you remember any instance or a story?
Yeah, certainly, just the stepping stones of my business were great. It's funny, there's always these awards things, right? That
Hmm.
people, but I never had the opportunity to kind of do those kinds of things. So one of the things every year, as you saw at eWomen, is at their international conference every year, they give out some awards. They're called the Femtor Awards, and one of them is their Business Matchmaker
Okay.
Award. And
Okay.
so I've been nominated twice for that by my chapter,
Mm-hmm.
which was an honor
Mm-hmm.
and meant a lot because a business matchmaker is somebody who is always connecting other people. They're not just taking, they're giving, and they're trying to sort of spread the love in the
Mm-hmm.
best way for everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
then I also was honored by a magazine called Excellion
Okay.
to be an empowering women leader of the year for 2023, I think it was.
Okay.
And they featured me on the cover of their magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something I had never imagined I would do
Congratulations.
in my life, like
Uh-huh.
cover
Uh-huh.
girl. And I don't mean that in a weird way, but that was a real honor to kind of have that exposure, if you will,
Mhm.
that visibility.
Right.
And it's almost like when especially when I'm in PR, I'm
Mm-hmm.
always trying to find these kinds of opportunities for my
Mm-hmm.
clients,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So to actually have that happen for me
Mm-hmm.
was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little nerve-wracking, and I almost felt like I don't want to be on the
Uh-huh.
cover of a magazine. And
Yeah.
yet when I did, I thought, well, I didn't get there by
Uh-huh.
chance. Like I got there because I earned it.
Yes, you earned it.
And
It's a
yeah,
sweat, pain, your time, effort, sleepless nights, everything,
yeah,
takes you there. It's just that some people give up too early because they're
yep,
exhausted. But if you
yep,
don't give up and we keep going, I'm sure we all reach to our goals. I mean, there's not a destination, but the journey itself helps you feel good about yourself.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the other thing I'll kind of give a tip to your listeners, especially for those who are in business.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need to pay for something. Sometimes you have to pay for a seat at the table even.
It is.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong. I do
As
say
long as you're sitting at the right table.
right
You know what I
table.
mean?
Yes.
And you're making good choices about the people that you hang out with and the people that you network with.
Hmm.
Always kind of keep your radar up about that.
Yes. Yes.
And don't be, sometimes the best thing to say on certain things is to say no. No is a complete sentence, as we say.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so not every opportunity is a great opportunity. So you always have to be discerning and have those trusted people in your life that if you do, like even when I got offered this thing for the magazine, I
Hmm.
hadn't heard of the magazine before. So I
Hmm.
reached out to other people and they're like, nope, it's completely legit.
Hmm.
So, I had to sort of like make sure I did my due diligence too,
Right.
So, but
I like that.
writing a check for speed, and again, do it in a way that works for you. Don't overextend yourself. I'm not saying you should put yourself in debt.
Right.
I had things I was able to do to make it work for me,
Of
but
course, we
it
have to
was,
see our bank balance and the pockets. But
yeah,
I love what you said that even if you have to buy a seat at the table, but
yeah.
find that right table, find that
I'm
right
so sorry.
people
It's like
around.
in my eyes.
No, I love it. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn, which is your core area, because I work with students and I always encourage them, at least in their senior year, to have their LinkedIn profile, start sharing, reposting the stuff that you're passionate about, because the college resume, it's not only about ACT, SAT, but it's also about what you have done. So, what are a few things that you would like to get suggest to our students? What are the key areas, maybe three or five of things which they should surely do on LinkedIn? It
Okay.
would not only
First
be
of all, I
students.
love that you are working with high school students and
Uh-huh.
you are helping them prepare for going into college, or maybe
Mhm.
some people are going to go right into going to work or whatever their journey is.
Mhm.
And that you're encouraging them to get their resumes together or whatever, and to be professional and to get into that professional mindset. Because I think starting at that age versus starting at the college age, I
Mhm.
think you're making more of an impression. And
Mhm.
over the years, I've been invited to speak to many high school groups
Mhm.
about, especially specifically about what they can do for their LinkedIn. Now,
Right.
most people are thinking about a presence to help them get into college.
Mhm.
So when you and I talked in Dallas, I had mentioned to you there's a lot. When I used to work at a college. I was the head of
Mhm.
public relations and marketing, and at that time was when social media was just coming out,
Right.
and the admissions director, they were looking at their social media and
Mm.
they were looking at their Facebook or whatever. And, if they saw somebody being like a big time partier
Mhm.
or, doing something that is just
Not
not, I don't want
considered
to say
ethical.
inappropriate. They're having
Yeah.
fun, but it's
Yes.
just if you look at it in the context of getting a
Uh-huh.
job or getting into college, it's
Mhm.
like, not so sure.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if you're putting that doubt in someone's mind because they can see these other aspects of your life,
Mhm.
that could have an effect on you getting into a certain school that you really want to get into or something. So
Does.
it's worth it to be thinking about that and have
Right.
that on your mind
Mhm.
so that maybe you're not posting the pictures of the parties that you went to and things
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when you shift gears and you think about LinkedIn,
Mhm.
now in some of the high schools and many high schools, some of them get opportunities to do an internship of some kind,
Mhm.
or there's a career day that
Uh,
they have and they get invited to go shadow somebody at a certain
mhm.
job for a while.
Mhm.
Those are all really good things that you could actually put in a LinkedIn profile to
Yes.
sort of set yourself apart. Like this is showing that you have these dreams of becoming whatever it is that you want to become
Right.
and getting into a certain college to in a certain field of study.
Right.
So showcasing some of these on a LinkedIn profile is a really good thing.
Mhm.
And if they do search for you because they're considering you and they want to do the college interview or whatever, they are going to look to see where you are online. They're just going to
Yes.
do it. They're going to Google you.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
if you have a really good thought out LinkedIn presence, you're
Mhm.
not going to have a lot because you're only in college. Even if you worked as a pizza delivery person,
Mhm.
put
Mhm.
it in there because it shows initiative that you work.
Yes.
It shows that you want to make money. Those are all things that you want to share. When
Right.
you get into your career in 6 or 7 years, take the pizza job off and show
Yeah.
your internships and your college internships and
Yes.
show the winter job you had during Christmas break. I mean, all of those things matter,
No, they
and,
do
and
add up. It's a
they do.
cumulative effect. In fact, this reminds me, I had a student, he was working on creating an app. And he said, "Is it okay if I share every day the progress that I'm making?" I said, "Yes, do a 30-day of a
Yeah.
campaign." And he says, "Even should I put my failures?" I said, "Yes, show
Yep.
that I tried this and I failed at it. I tried this. That will be more inspirational." And he
Yes.
posted his 30 days. And he mentioned that through that, he got actually an internship to do in the same field because that gives his personality that this is a
Exactly.
person, he's not the one who's gonna give up on it, right? So that
Right.
shows your personality without saying, show, don't tell kind of a
Right.
concept, right?
You're 100% correct.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're being taught how to put together a resume of sorts, and that's probably more when you get into college, but
Right.
put those kinds of things in. Put things in that you might, even if you were like, let's say you worked as a nanny for a summer and
Mm-hmm.
you traveled with a family around Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's life experience you're building.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it shows that you were responsible for young children.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that you had a passion for traveling and learning new cultures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just think about even as a pizza delivery person,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
learning how to show up on time. You're learning structure. You're learning apps to use. You're
Mm-hmm.
learning
Mm-hmm.
software. You're learning customer
No job is
service.
less. No job is less. Anything
Exactly.
that you do,
Exactly.
you're still better than someone else.
Right. And if anybody is using like ChatGPT or an AI tool, if you're using it appropriately so that you're using it for ideas and inspiration and you're not just copying and
Just copy
pasting a
pasting. Yeah.
result, put the information in about yourself. Put in, I want to go to this kind of a school,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to study this, and I want to go to this school because I love this, or my parents were alums,
Right.
or whatever the
Right.
draw is,
Uh,
and put in all this stuff about you and your grades and like I loved English and I hated math and
Yeah.
like
Be
just
yourself.
yeah, put your persona into chat and say, okay,
Uh-huh.
now I'm working on creating my LinkedIn profile.
Right.
And I need help writing the narrative for my about section. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to incorporate, and these are three things that I'm going to share with you and your listeners for who are entrepreneurs. I
Mm-hmm.
have what I call a three-part recipe for your about section. And it
Okay.
should cover these areas: who
Okay.
you are,
Mm-hmm.
what you do,
Mm-hmm.
and an outcome you provide.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not all about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about you, but it's not all about you. It's not a bio. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So if it's a high school student, they have this opportunity to share maybe something they've done in school. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's a project. Maybe it was a term paper or whatever they call them now.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Like share about this. Show a little lens into who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But tell ChatGPT or whatever you're using, say, I'm working on my LinkedIn profile and I would like help with my about section. And I want to incorporate these three aspects of
Mm-hmm.
myself.
All
Same
right.
thing for an entrepreneur. And
Right.
then see what you get for a result, copy paste it into a Word or Google Doc, and then make it your own. Tweak it and make it sure it sounds like you.
Yes. Yes.
So that's kind of a quick tip. It
Mhm.
takes a little time.
Right.
Don't just write 4 sentences and put it
Uh-huh.
up there.
I know.
LinkedIn gives you 2,600 characters. That's approximately 500 words,
Uh-huh.
and they keep expanding that section.
Mm-hmm.
So the algorithm is telling you to use that digital real estate.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
important digital real estate,
All
and
right.
you want to show up there. Don't take a shortcut.
Right.
Long
Sometimes
form
people
content
think,
works on LinkedIn.
yeah, sometimes people think that, oh, who's gonna read all of
Right.
that? But
Well, they do.
they do, right? So
And
it's
LinkedIn is the only
advisable.
platform of its kind.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I want you to think like this is where your digital footprint lives online. If somebody meets you at a networking event and
Mm-hmm.
they get your business card and they come home and they pop into Google and they look you up, your LinkedIn profile, if you have one of obviously,
Mm-hmm.
will show up first before your own
Yes,
website.
exactly. This is what I noticed when I
Yeah.
had that, and it showed my LinkedIn. I said,
Yeah.
wow, I
Yeah.
post more on Facebook, Instagram, but my
Exactly.
LinkedIn is popping up, right?
LinkedIn has really good Google juice, as we call it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Awesome.
Yep.
Very nice.
So that could be the place for a good first impression. So make sure you show some love there.
Mm-hmm.
Make it be the best it can be. And then once you get these things, then you want to nurture it. It's not like if you write this thing now and then in 3 years something else happens, go
Hmm.
and change it.
Right.
Like stay on top of it and then engage on the platform. Like don't just put up a profile and call it a day. You need
Right.
to engage. You need to build connections and it takes time. I
Right.
always say LinkedIn is a slow dance, but it's worth it.
Low dance. I love it. It will help me to remember that, yeah, you keep inserting the stuff in that. It
Yep,
just
exactly.
builds your footprints.
Right.
Awesome. Very nice. I'm
Yeah.
sure there is so much more that we can keep on going into. But I really want people to come to you and book you for that because nothing is free all the time.
Right, right.
But let's come to the last part of this episode where I love to talk about the magic formula. We know there's nothing called as magic. We have strategies, systems, everything in place. But I do a Wednesday voice on all the
I've
portfolio.
seen it. I've seen some of your reels. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that, I just share a 1 minute of something which can help them elevate their life. It could be personal, professional, business life. So would you like to share a magic formula with our audience, something which they can remember and easily apply in their life right away?
Yes. Pay attention to the headline on your LinkedIn profile. That's that area right underneath your name. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And
Okay.
so what a lot of people do is they just put their job title in there. And
Uh-huh.
you have 220 characters there. We
Okay.
know that that is a heavily weighted field by LinkedIn's algorithm for keywords. So
Okay.
if you are in business and you know what your top two or three industry keywords that describe what you do
Mm-hmm.
beyond your job title, no one's going to search for you by your job title. People
Right.
are going to search for you by a keyword. Like one of my keywords is LinkedIn profile coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have CEO and founder standing out online. It
Mm-hmm.
shows up in my experience section, but in my headline, I talk about my PR, I talk about the LinkedIn, I talk about personal branding, and then I throw in a quirky little fun thing, and I say that I'm a paddleboard fanatic because I love to stand
Mm-hmm.
up paddleboard.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you really put some thought into your LinkedIn profile headline.
Awesome. Headline is the main thing, and it should not be just your designation,
Right.
something which is easily searchable, people that search for so
Yep.
that they can come and land up in your profile.
Right, exactly. If somebody is searching for someone like you, they don't know your name. And
Right.
so they're looking for, put yourself
Yeah.
in the
No
shoes of
one gonna
someone who might be
post
looking for your
CEO. No
service.
one will post CEO and founder of a coaching academy. They will
Exactly.
search a coaching academy for kids or
Right.
a modeling agency or something like that.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Awesome.
Exactly.
That's
Yep.
amazing.
Yes.
I need to go and get my profile set according. I learned it. But thank you so much, Kate, for being here. It has been amazing. Such a pleasure meeting you in person. And today, having you on my podcast, I'm sure our audience are going to love it. But where can our audience find you? I know
Well, you
on
can
LinkedIn
certainly find
for
me on
sure.
LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn for Kate Paine. It's Paine. It's
Mhm.
an uncommon way of spelling pain.
Mhm.
Or on my website, which is standingoutonline.com.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of information there. There's also a resources tab where I've been interviewed on podcasts and I've done trainings and videos and I have stuff up there. So you can learn by watching some of the things with my trainings that are there
Awesome.
too, and they're
Well, I'm
free.
sure people are going to look out for you and they'll reach out to you. I'm sure LinkedIn is something which everybody needs and they should work in it. They should invest in it.
Yes, absolutely. There's no competitor to LinkedIn. It's
There
the
is,
only it's the only platform of its kind. It's an online professional networking platform.
and we all
And
deserve to stand out online.
exactly.
Awesome. Very
Thank
nice.
you so
Thank
much,
you
Neetu.
so
I
much.
really appreciate being
And to our
invited.
audience, stay tuned for all the episodes and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you do not miss uh, this dose of motivation because it could be you are stuck at some level, but by listening to this, this might be your calling. This might be a turning point. And someday you might say, oh, I heard that episode and that was my turning point in my life. With that, I'll wish you all goodbye. And thank you so much once again, Kate, for being here.
Thank you.